We're inside a greenhouse, and in this greenhouse we actually produce quite a lot of food all year round. But Sean, seasonal food is not all produced in a greenhouse, right? We really need the seasons to benefit from the beauty and the bounty of local food.
Local food has many different spheres. Some, you have local food, you have your backyard farmers, you have people who are growing their own greens, maybe their own potatoes, garlic, chicken. Chickens, they have your own homegrown eggs. With Colorado, we know that the weather can change in a matter of minutes. We have this diurnal climate of, in the summer, very hot days, very cool nights. But the seasons with us, sort of harder to find. We know this living here, that the springs can have very late frosts. Summers can be very hot. And sometimes our falls can bring early frost as well. Our typical planting dates are May 15th, which is our first warm season planting date. That's our latest average frost date. And then September 15th is our earliest average frost date. Basically what it means is if it goes below freezing, there's risk of damaging your plants. So in that narrow window, we have about 4 months where we try to get it all done. All right, guys, so I want to show you how we're going to plant a bed here. This is springtime and the sun is out and it's warming up the soil just enough to start working with it. Here in Colorado Springs, this is right around middle of April. So I'm going to take this hoe here and I'm just going to work some of the soil in. Over the course of the winter, the soil is going to rest and it's going to sort of form, I call it a crust. It's almost like a pizza crust. It just kind of forms this tough layer. And I like to break that all up because it makes the soil nice and airy and a nice bed for the seeds, and it helps them germinate that much better. And if you come down here to the soil, I want you guys to feel how airy this is, right? Wow. So you can imagine, the seed is going to have just the perfect amount of air because
there's some moisture in there.
Absolutely, there's good moisture, but not too much, because too much can also kill your seeds because it's like drowning. They need to breathe a little bit. Yeah. So I have some lettuce seeds here and I thought we could plant a little bit. Just take a little pinch and start sprinkling them out here into the soil. It's almost like seasoning your food.
And we don't have to dig a hole and put these in the ground?
No, absolutely not. You don't need to dig a hole. You can just sprinkle these into the soil. They need very little soil to cover them. And sometimes when I'm finished with an area, sometimes I'll even just broadcast the seeds like this. That's what they call broadcasting. Some farmers will do that in big fields. So just enough to keep them locked into place. Yeah. And we're going to come back in here and water these seeds.
The summers are not much easier, are they?
No, the summers actually bring their own challenges. So when we have the heat of the summer, the high winds, we're actually still trying to germinate things because not everything is planted in 1 week or 1 month. So we're still trying to get carrots and other root vegetables to germinate. And sometimes that drying out of the soil, if it's very hot, can be very difficult. The farmers have a tough time getting germination.
As the fall arrives, we can still plant something, and that's actually the grain that goes into the ground. So a farmer really doesn't have a lot of time off.
The biggest threat in the fall is making sure you manage your time from a farmer standpoint, and the weather is certainly a concern there too. So if you have these peppers and these tomatoes and a storm runs through, cold weather comes, you have to hustle out there and grab as many of those fruits as you can, bring them inside, and maybe let them ripen up if they're tomatoes or other things, tomatillos, bring those in, because otherwise your crop will be damaged and you won't have the chance to can and do all these other wonderful things.
If we have a big rush, it might mean that we go back to old traditions such as canning, right, and freezing things and making sure that we have local food through the seasons.
Absolutely.
So in the winter, how beautiful is it when I can pull out a canned jar of zucchini or cucumbers or something that I pickled in the summer when they were plentiful.
Absolutely, and the place that we're going to see that the most is at our farmers markets, right? Mm-hmm. They're canning things, they're putting things away, they're pickling, and they have wonderful recipes, generational recipes, so they know how that works, and we're lucky to have those options if you're more consumer, less farmer.
Local food has many, many benefits. One of them is certainly our nutrition, right? When we think about harvesting quickly, it arrives on our plates very fast. We harvest it the evening before and have it on the plate the next day or the same day. So there's a preservation of nutrients in the food that we harvest quickly.
We talk so much here about community and how it's providing jobs for other people. You're allowing, in some cases, farms to remain generational farms so that parents can pass that down to their children. So it's really protecting what little we have left, because we don't have many farms, and when they're gone, I think they're gone, and the knowledge disappears. So it's so important to get out and shop for this wonderful, delicious food that we love to eat, but support that community.
And isn't it true that if a kid actually puts the seed in the ground and grows some of their own food, they will eat it too?
Absolutely. That's where all the research is pointing to. The more interactions, the more they can grow their own food, harvest, clean, prep, do other things in the kitchen, the more likely they're to try that food.
Right. So if you want to see what's grown in Colorado, a seasonal calendar is quickly Googled online. You can find what's in season.